this evening with another video. And tonight we're going to talk about baby Thomas Valva. This is an 8-year-old who was murdered at the hands of his father and his fiancée, the father's fiancée, January 17th, 2020. Tonight and today is the 9-month anniversary of his murder. Please, if you're not subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you will get all things DutyRon when I go live or when I upload a video. Please share this video, get the message out there. We need to support his mother and his 2 surviving siblings, Justina Zupko Valva, and make sure that justice is served for baby Thomas Valva, who would have been 9 years old in September, just past his birthday, a sad, sad day. Guys, thank you so much for coming in. I want to say a special thank you to my Patreon supporters, my channel members, all of the people who support me with moderation and subscribing and leaving comments down below in the comments section. I greatly appreciate that. Special thank you to Joey Brooklyn, and all the moderators. Black Rose is here, VP, my channel members piling on in, Crystal Harmony. Thank you to everyone who is here on this solemn day, a 9-month remembrance of the life of an autistic boy who was murdered by his father and the father's fiancée, Angela Pollina. These are 2 disgusting human beings. He was a New York City transit police officer, and I gotta say, this is a despicable crime here on Long Island, in my home community, in the island where I grew up, Long Island. This is just a despicable, horrific incident, and I'm going to recap it for you here tonight. I'm going to recap this entire story. We're going to start from the beginning, from January 17th, 2020. In the wake of COVID-19, this case has been dragged out in Suffolk County. There's been so many different levels of failure from the social services, the teachers, the police department, everywhere you look in this case, there's failure. And for me, I'm not one of these guys that jumps to the conclusion about corruption quickly, but I got to tell you, I feel like there's some type of something bad going on in the county of Suffolk, Nassau County as well, the family courts, social services, the police department. I don't understand how everybody system-wide failed this kid and failed Justina Zupko Valva. Justina was crying and screaming at the top of her lungs for many, many years to have her children taken away from Michael Valva. And they dismissed her. They dismissed this woman when she begged them. And you're going to hear tonight her cries to the media, her cries, her brave cries after her son was murdered in front of the media, saying, "Where were you when I needed you?" This woman went to the Suffolk County medical examiner's office recently and asked for her son, her flesh and blood's autopsy, and they didn't even let her come in the building. They told her she needed an appointment. I personally went to Justina Zupko Valva's home to give a donation on behalf of the DutyRon channel. Recently, within the last 4 weeks, I went to her home to give her a donation on behalf of this channel. And she, in her own words, told me, I asked her, what happens when you call the Suffolk County District Attorney who's handling this case? And she said, they won't even call her back. She told me they wouldn't even call her back. I can't believe it. My head is, I'm rattled. All right, what we're going to listen to is the Suffolk County Police Commissioner. It's a female, a police commissioner. She is going to give you a synopsis of the investigation and where we are in the investigation. So this is the Suffolk County Police Chief, I think it's the police chief. She's going to give you a press conference and you're going to hear parts of the investigation. But this is all the way back to January of 2020. So listen in. Hello, Ray D. Pour me a drink, would you? We're going to need one after this. All right, we're going to listen to it now. This is the Suffolk County Police Chief.
First, like to introduce Suffolk County Police Commissioner Geraldine Hart. She is joined by First Deputy Commissioner James Skopek, Chief of Department Stuart Cameron, Chief of Detectives Gerard Giganti,
Audio is a little low,
Deputy Chief
so
of
bear with me.
Matthew Lewis, Homicide Squad Commanding Officer Detective Lieutenant Kevin Byer, and Homicide Squad Detective Sergeant Stephen Geyer. At the end of the press conference, we will take a few questions, but please remember this is an active investigation and there's certain information we're not going to be able to discuss. Thank you. Commissioner?
Thank you, Dawn. Good afternoon. Before we begin, I want to express my sincerest condolences to Thomas Valva's family and friends, especially his siblings. We are here to discuss the arrests of Michael Valva and Angela Pollina for the death of Michael's 8-year-old son, Thomas. The couple has been charged with murder in the second degree because they engaged in conduct which created a grave risk of death to this child. Thomas Valva was subjected to freezing temperatures in the home's unheated garage overnight when the outside temperature was 19 degrees. We first responded to 11 Bittersweet Lane in Center Moriches on January the 17th at 9:40 a.m. after Michael Valva reported that his son Thomas fell in the driveway while waiting for the school bus an hour earlier. Michael indicated that his son lost consciousness after the fall, but has remained unconscious. When the officers arrived, Michael Valva was performing CPR on his son in the basement. Thomas was transported to Long Island Community Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. At the time of his arrival at the hospital, Thomas's body temperature was 76 degrees. As with any unattended death, homicide detectives conducted an investigation which revealed inconsistencies in the timing and the nature of the child's injuries as reported by his father. We have determined Thomas was never in the driveway that morning, and he suffered head and facial injuries that were not consistent with the father's account. During the past week, homicide detectives conducted a round-the-clock investigation, which included the review of video and audio recordings captured on the family's home surveillance system, both inside and outside the house. The recordings show the pair was closely monitoring the activities and conversations of their 6 children, Michael's 3 sons, ages 6, 8, and 10, and Angela's daughters, 11-year-old twins and a 6-year-old. We believe that the 10 and 8-year-old boys were subjected to punishment including food deprivation and exposure to extremely frigid temperatures. We are still investigating the extent of the abuse and if it extended to all the children. Following Thomas's death, the department notified Suffolk County CPS and assisted in the emergency removal of the other 5 children on January the 17th. The children are currently in a safe environment. These arrests are not the end of the investigation. We are still processing evidence and conducting interviews. This case has hit our department hard, even the most seasoned detectives. I would like to thank our homicide squad for their countless hours in seeking justice for this little boy. I would also like to acknowledge and thank all the agencies that assisted us in this investigation: the New York City Police Department, the East Moriches School District, the FBI, the Department of Social Services, the medical examiner, and the district attorney's office. I'll take any questions that you might have.
All right, before this goes, I want to just say thank you to Joelle Ward for becoming a DutyRon channel member. Thank you for that. I got to tell you, for those of you who know, when I covered this case, this rattled my cage. This really, if you go and look at my Thomas Valva playlist, this I'm a seasoned law enforcement professional. I've seen a lot of death in my time. I've seen children, which always hit me hard. But this one, for those of you who have been with me for a while, I broke down in tears during one of my lives talking about this case. And I went with Dookie 4000. I went with my neighbor Diane to the funeral for this little boy. And seeing an 8-year-old in a white suit in an open casket with his mother and his two brothers, an autistic boy who couldn't fend for himself, in a casket at a funeral home, was devastating for me as a father, as a police professional, as a human being. I mean, who could subject even a stranger, who can inflict this type of pain and horror onto your own flesh and blood? So this is the police commissioner. She seemed rattled and she seemed pretty strong in this conversation, but nothing really has gone on that Justina and the family knows about. So whatever they're doing, they're not conveying or communicating with this little boy's mother, his biological mother, who's from Poland. They're not communicating with her. What are the steps that they're taking? This is 9 months. Tonight, October 17th, he was murdered. January 17th, 2020. That's 9 months. Today was 9 months. She hasn't gotten the autopsy report. She hasn't had communication from the district attorney. The district attorney is who's prosecuting this case for the victim. Kenny TV, great to see you. The district attorney is prosecuting this case. They should be having an open line of communication with Justina, but because she has so many allegations of corruption and fraud against Department of Social Services, Child Protective, Family Court, Police Department, everything, you name it, the school system, the teachers, albeit that they made reports and they forwarded reports to child welfare, the teachers were sneaking food to the boys. They were coming in soaked in urine and feces. And how could you go home with a good conscious mind and not call 911 repeatedly? I mean, I'm Monday morning quarterbacking this a little bit, but if I was a school teacher and I saw a little kid, or if I was a security guard and I saw a little kid come in every day with urine drenched in his shoes, I would be calling 911 I'd have it on speed dial. So let's listen to the rest of this. I just wanted to put split screen so you guys can see me. I'll put it back to full screen, and she's going to take some questions. So let's hear the questions that she takes. Okay.
So the medical examiner has ruled it a homicide with a major contributing factor of hypothermia. Just one at a time. So it's under investigation, but we believe certainly that Thomas was kept.
So the medical examiner said homicide, hypothermia, with major contributing factor to hypothermia. He was in the garage, 19 degrees Fahrenheit, overnight. Yes, in the chat, Justina has a $200 million lawsuit against Suffolk County and the DSS, and I don't know who is exactly named in it, I have it in my playlist here. We'll cover that briefly. That's really irrelevant right now. She needs to get justice for her son. She wants to have changes, and rightfully so, to protect other children. Think about how many other children are subject to this malfunction, this corruption, if you will, of the social services and child protectives. So let's let the rest of this play.
In the garage overnight, preceding his death. The FBI, the Department of Social Service. I'll take any questions that you might have.
Here's the questions again.
So the medical examiner has ruled it a homicide with a major contributing factor of hypothermia. Just one at a time. So it's under investigation, but we believe certainly that Thomas was kept in the garage overnight preceding his death.
And the brother?
That's under further investigation.
Can you describe the condition of the house? You walked in, what the officers walked in, describe the house looked like.
So the father was, as I said, conducting CPR on the child in the basement of the house. The garage that I'm referring to is attached to the house. It is unheated and unfinished.
Okay, so the father took his son downstairs and faked CPR on the boy, on his son. When the EMS and the fire and the police came, he was giving fake CPR to his son to try to appear that he was trying to revive him. When Thomas was brought to the hospital, his body temperature was 72 degrees or 76 degrees. So he claimed that his son fell in the driveway waiting for the school bus. All of this is lies, and they have him on video and audio capture making jokes about his son, his legs giving out and falling down on his face, and that's how supposedly that's how he got all of the injuries to his head and face. He made a joke about it, and you'll hear about that shortly.
Sure, certainly. So I will tell you that an event of this magnitude, the death of a child of this age, is just unimaginable to all of us as parents, as a mother. I can tell you that we are going to look at every interaction that this child had with the system, and we're going to follow through and make sure that we investigate every avenue.
Commissioner, have you been able to substantiate these abuse claims that this has transpired for some period of time?
Again, that's all part of this investigation, and we're going to continue to.
You see, what pisses me off here is that she said we're going to look into every avenue. This is 9 months later, and there's nothing. The next court date, the next criminal court date for Angela Pollina and Michael Valva, those are the murderers of baby Thomas. The next court date is December 22nd, right before Christmas. And that's going to get adjourned too into 2021. So COVID has set this thing back, but there's no reason why the proceedings can't go forward. You know, they're just dragging their feet, and I don't know why. Nobody knows why. So let's listen to the rest of this.
Look into that.
And the school nurse and the school district, it seems as though everyone has been aware of this for some time. Is civil police in charge of CPS, or how does that work?
No, we're not, but I can tell you that I have been in constant contact with the Commissioner of the Department of Social Services. We're working closely together to make sure that we are investigating every avenue and every contact that this family had with services.
Commissioner, what does the father do for a living?
He's a New York City police officer.
Have police been to that house before, ever?
So I have examined our calls for service to that house since the time that they moved in, and we had calls for service that involved the custody arrangement of the family. We had one, check the welfare, which we responded to in 2019, May of 2019. And when we did respond, the family was not at home. We talked to the neighbors, and they had said that the family was in Queens at the time.
Commissioner, you said the body temperature was very, very low. Malnourishment at all?
So that's part of the investigation.
Commissioner,
So we're not certain yet.
You mentioned that the 8 and the 10-year-old boys were put in the garage. There's also another boy who I guess wasn't. So we also heard that the 8 and 10-year-old boys have autism. Can you confirm that? And so were the boys with autism put in the garage, whereas the other 4 children were not?
So that's something that we're still investigating.
Do Thomas have autism?
I believe his mother had said that he had was suffering from autism.
Thank you.
Did Michael Valva attempt to commit suicide last night? Was there an incident at his house?
Okay, so they just asked if Michael Valva, he's no longer a cop. He was a New York City police, transit police officer, a disgrace to the badge, a disgrace to the uniform, a criminal. This is not a police officer. This is a person who is, rotten to the core. Definitely a disgrace to the badge. I'm going to show that comment. I'm going to ask that we keep the chat. I know we're all angry over this, and rightfully so, but if you keep the chat respectful, I appreciate that. He definitely is a disgrace to the badge. Just the curse words it gets my channel demonetized. So if you can refrain from that, Casey, me too, I appreciate that. And I concur with you on that. All good police officers can't stand somebody of evil and sick monster as this guy is. This baby's father, this baby Thomas, 8 years old, his father is a disgrace to the uniform. And any good police officer would want that eradicated and removed. He should not see another day out, another good day. He should have bad days. And if he tried to commit suicide, that's another cowardly way out. So let me come back on and say hello to everybody. Thank you to everyone for joining. Again, this is 9 months to the day. Today is the 17th here in New York, and 9 months to the day. Let's listen to Justina Zupko Valva talk about this is Thomas's mother. We're going to hear the prosecutor outline the House of Horrors and the abuse that led to Thomas's death in this next clip. So let me cue that up for you so you guys can see and hear it. So give me 2 seconds and we'll segue over onto that. It's just a short clip, but it's going to tell you in no uncertain terms what happened in that garage that night. You're going to hear the prosecutor. And let me put a disclaimer out. This is going to be graphic. So if you suffer from PTSD or if you can't handle things, something like this, I would say step out. They're going to talk. It was 19 degrees Cat H, 19 degrees Fahrenheit on the date of his death, January 17th, 2020. 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Very cold. All right, here we go.
Boy, as an NYPD police officer. Disturbing new details tonight in the freezing death of an 8-year-old Cinema Riches boy, as an NYPD police officer and his fiancée are now indicted in that child's murder. News 12's Kevin Vesey is very latest in a story you saw first on 12.
He was only 8 years old.
Justina Zupko Valva sobbed uncontrollably and
This
held
is the
a
mom.
picture of her 8-year-old son Thomas, who authorities say was killed by his own father, NYPD officer Michael Valva, and his fiancée Angela Pollina. According to prosecutors, the pair forced the boy to sleep in their freezing Center Moriches garage last month, and he died of hypothermia the next morning.
It was clearly a house of horrors.
Today,
Casey,
the couple was
hold on, let me
indicted
pause
on
this. Casey, my heart breaks for this family. And like I said, I met personally two to three times with Justina. And, I know that, everybody is angry over this, but, I'm just asking everyone to have just a little respect for Justina, if she watches this, for my channel, for yourself. And I know that you're hypersensitive because you have an autistic child. And listen, my cousin, his son is autistic. I have many family members who have autistic children, and they're the most beautiful, loving children that you'd ever want to be around. And this is why it's personal for me as well, because it makes it equally. Listen, any life that's taken, whether it's a young boy, young girl, old person, young person, middle age, it's tragic. But this is over the top. So let's continue and listen here. And I thank you for the respect, and I give it, and I thank you guys. So let's continue with this right now.
Second-degree murder and child endangerment charges in the young boy's death. In court, prosecutors outlined what they say was a long history of abuse against Thomas and his older brother Anthony, including a lack of basic hygiene.
They often came to school so soiled that school employees could smell urine and feces about their bodies.
Prosecutors also say the boys were deprived of food to the point that they scavenged for scraps at school.
The children took to eating crumbs off tables, pulling uneaten food out of the garbage, and taking food from other children.
And
the kids, that's Thomas, who was killed, Andrew. It's just, for me, it's just despicable. It's just despicable what went on, for how long it went on, and how the powers that be and the authorities, with the reports given out, still did nothing about it. Kenny TV, we're all taken back by this. This is just horrific. So
authorities say the children were repeatedly forced to sleep in the food to the point that they.
This is Thomas.
Prosecutors also say the
and feces about their bodies.
Prosecutors also say the boys were deprived of food to the point that they scavenged for scraps at school.
The children took to eating crumbs off tables, pulling uneaten food out of the garbage, and taking food from other children.
And authorities say the children were repeatedly forced to sleep in the cold garage without blankets, pillows, or a mattress, as a cruel form of corporal punishment. Authorities tell us it all happened under the watch of the family's surveillance cameras. And on the day Thomas was killed, prosecutors say Valva could be heard on tape, callously mocking his dying son.
This defendant said, "This stupid son of a fell headfirst into the concrete twice."
And as part of their investigation, prosecutors say they're putting together a complete timeline of every interaction the family had with government agencies, including law enforcement and child protective services. Justina says there were years of complaints, but they all fell on deaf ears.
Where were you when I begged you for help? When you could have saved my child's life? You for help? Where were you when I begged you?
Fell on deaf ears.
Where were you when I begged you for help? When you could have saved my child's life?
That says it all right there.
Where were you when I begged you for help? When you could have saved my child's life?
I mean, look at this woman. That statement right there is what just crushed me, because this is as real as it gets. Where were you when I begged you for help? You could have saved my child's life. That statement is powerful. That's a statement for all children out there who are abused and who are victims at the hands of their parents, their loved ones, the ones that they trust, the ones that they're supposed to trust. It's sickening. It's so sickening. I just don't understand it. I'll never understand it, and I'll never get be able to wrap my hands around that. It's just sickening.
Well, both Valva and Pollina pleaded not guilty today. They're being held without bail, and if convicted, could face life behind bars. Kayla.
Disturbing new details tonight in the.
All right. I got a couple of more things, but let me just say this. Justina's been fighting every step of the way. She's been going to all of the hearings. She's been getting shut out. There was a Suffolk County legislation hearing. They wouldn't allow her to go in there because of COVID. They said because of COVID-19, she couldn't come in. She stayed outside with a bunch of supporters. There's a Jim Kelly who's helping her out with the judicial side of things. She's been getting the runaround. Suffolk County Police came and escorted her and several other people who were with her off of the property of the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office. I have that video. I'm not going to play it here, but I watched it on her Facebook page, and it blew my mind. I mean, 2 or 3 Suffolk County police officers came there, and they told her she had to leave. She wanted to see the autopsy results, the written autopsy results of the death of her own son. And they said that you couldn't. You have to make an appointment. The father who murdered the son had custody because he was able to convince Nassau County and Suffolk County Family Court that Justina was an unfit mother, and that's furthest from the truth. So the Thomas was in custody of his murderer, and Justina begged them that he was dangerous, and they dismissed her. So we're going to hear that now. I got it queued up. There was 33 calls made to police from the Valva family home. Let's look at this for a second. Hold on a second. Let's watch this, because this is worth a watch.
Some of the challenges faced by police entering a custody dispute, there could be many there. You know, they're coming into a environment where there could have been, it's very emotional, you know, both sides maybe want custody, both sides are arguing, and the police have one job, that is to ensure public safety, ensure everyone's safe, ensure no one's in imminent danger. The police don't have the authority to remove a child from the home, right? They have authority to protect children, they have authority to arrest an offender, but they don't always have the authority to immediately remove a child from a home. There's many factors that go into place there. So sometimes when someone calls the police, maybe the best they could do is the police can give them a report that an incident happened, and that person can now go to family court and petition a judge and let them know what's going on. So that when the police respond to a custody battle, it sometimes meets the level of a civil issue, a civil court case rather than a criminal court case. So if there's not that level of criminality there, the police cannot make an arrest. Michael Valva is a police officer, and we don't know whether he used his leverage to assert power and dominance over his victims, over his family. That does not mean that the police did not respond thoroughly and the police did not investigate fully, but sometimes an abuser will use their position, use their leverage as whatever title they have, whether it's someone in authority, whether it's a CEO, whether it's a police officer, to say no one's going to believe you. But that does not mean that's always going to be the response. So many times those in positions of power do use their titles to hide behind if they are abusers. But then again, in Nassau County, every single case, every alleged case is thoroughly investigated. It does not matter what that person's title is.
It wasn't thoroughly investigated in this case. That I could tell you, that for sure. I mean, what this guy's saying sounds good, but it sounds like legal mumbo jumbo to me. This case, clearly, there was a breakdown. It wasn't investigated thoroughly, because if it was investigated thoroughly and the Thomas was removed from the father, he would be alive today. He would be here. He would be here and would be okay. Here's something I want you guys to see real quick, and this is just, you know, this is all old stuff, you know, but I want you to see it because we're recapping
Garage. Did authorities ignore warning signs that the child was in danger? Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson.
I'm Maurice Dubois. Welcome back to CBS 2 News, now streaming on CBSN New York. CBS 2 is keeping the spotlight on what happened to Thomas Valva, his father, now charged with murder.
And tonight,
so CBS 2 was keeping the spotlight on this case in February and January, but there's not a peep of this case anywhere on any news. And this is another reason why I'm doing this, and I'm begging each and every one of you to share this video out. Share it onto your social media after this video is over. Make sure you put it onto Facebook, put it out onto any of the social media platforms, because now the local news is not covering anything. There's not a peep of it. I searched for an hour tonight before I went live for new and relevant information. You know where I got the information from? I got it from Justina's Twitter. I got it from the Facebook group, Justice for Thomas, case discussion. The only new information I got was from individual people. Now I want to use my platform to keep this case alive and going. And unfortunately, CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox News, all of the news stations, they're more concerned about putting political stuff out there, and this is a case where a child was killed, was murdered at the hands of his own father and his girlfriend or fiance or whatever you want to call her. And they're just, it's like it never even happened. It's sickening. I'm going to let this roll.
In an exclusive report, we have uncovered how the boy's mother lost custody in court and what officials are now doing to prevent future abuses. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan investigates from Long Island.
Blue ribbons adorn Main Street in Center Moriches, where a community has come together with love and support for victim 8-year-old Thomas Valva and his legacy, prompting change. Royal blue, the symbol used in the National Awareness Campaign for child abuse and for autism.
We are committed to getting to the bottom of the facts of this case and what happened, and to help improve the system so it never happens again.
Thomas's father, NYPD officer Michael Valva, allegedly beat Thomas, made him sleep in his Center Moriches frigid garage where the child died. Valva and his fiancée Angela Pollina were charged with murder. We're told since then 65 Suffolk Child Protective Services caseworkers have been in group counseling. The administrator of CPS says it's tough to take action.
If the parents say no and the school district is not the reporting party of the concern, we are unable to obtain the records from the school.
Social services leaders say publicly for the first time that changes were made the day after Thomas's death. Supervisors must now make a deep dive into any case with more than 4 allegations of child abuse and neglect. The state's child abuse hotline got 17 emergency calls against Valva and Pollina, all explained away and dismissed.
17 calls to the hotline, all of them were dismissed. How does that get dismissed? I don't understand it. How does that many calls
Records
get
reveal
dismissed?
exchanges between Mother Justina and advisors must now make a deep dive into any case with more than 4 allegations of child abuse and neglect. The state's child abuse hotline got 17 emergency calls against Valva and Pollina, all explained away and dismissed. Court records reveal exchanges between Mother Justina and a judge during bitter hearings involving custody of all 3 of her sons, Tommy, Andrew, and Anthony. Mother: my children are coming soaked in urine. Anthony is sleeping in the garage. His hands and feet are bright red, Your Honor. He's not getting any food. Judge: Ms. Valva, move along. I can't remember everything you are saying because you're saying so much. Mother: Your Honor, the CPS is not doing the job because they are closing the reports the next day. The judge denied the mother's motion to return the children to her. Mother: why? On what basis? The children's life is in danger, Your Honor. Judge: because I said so. Attorney Thomas Liotti lodged a formal misconduct complaint.
How sickening is that? How sickening is that? You just heard the transcripts from Nassau County Family Court. Now, this all started in Nassau County. The child's life was terminated in Suffolk. He was murdered in Suffolk County because that judge in Nassau County removed him from the home in Valley Stream and then gave custody to the father who lived out in Center Moriches. So that judge dismissed Justina, and it's on record. And why should that judge still be on the bench? That judge should be disbarred. He should be removed. He should be removed and disgraced from the bench. So Sickening. Thank you for that message, VP. I'll read it after the live stream. Thank you for sharing that with me. I'm going to scroll back
against
to this.
the judges who are alleged not getting any food. Judge. Court records reveal exchanges between Mother Justina and a judge during bitter hearings involving custody of all 3 of her sons, Tommy, Andrew, and Anthony. Mother, my children are coming soaked in urine. Anthony is sleeping in the garage. His hands and feet are bright red, Your Honor. He's not getting any food. Judge, Ms. Valva, move along. I can't remember everything you are saying because you're saying so much. Mother, Your Honor, the CPS is not doing the job because they are closing the reports the next day. The judge denied the mother's motion to return the children to her. Mother, why? On what basis? The children's life is in danger, Your Honor. Judge, because I said so.
The children's life are in danger. And she said, why? And I could hear her saying that. Why? Because I said so. God, this system is so fricked up, man. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And there's so much more. I mean, I could sit here with you guys and play more of these investigative reports that were going on like crazy while this was happening, early January, February. And then once COVID came in March, and then, you know, the wake of George Floyd and, you know, all of this narrative that's going on, this just got swept under the rug. The news and the media said, you know what? I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm not going to cover this. Or they were told to be quiet. Who knows? You never know. But this is deep systemic malfunction, corruption, whatever you want to call it. This is really bad here in Nassau County and in Suffolk County. And my own family has been bamboozled by the Nassau County Family Court. It's ongoing for my family right now. Somewhere over, thank you so much for the super love. And any super chats from tonight will be forwarded and donated to Justina, just as I've done in the past. We, as a channel, have donated over $750 to Justina Valva. I've gone and given her the cash in person. Last time I went there, I handed her an envelope with $400 from this channel, and she looked at me and hugged me. Even during COVID, I had my mask on. She hugged me and said, thank you. So much thanks to everybody who donates or has donated in the past. So I'm going to let the rest of this play now.
Attorney Thomas Liotti lodged a formal misconduct complaint against the judges who are elected, not appointed, in the Valva case. The New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct's 11-member panel will decide the judge's fate.
They do not deserve to be judges of any kind, and they should be removed immediately.
Once the Judicial Conduct Commission receives and reviews a complaint, a judge can be cleared, suspended, removed, censured, or even resign. In Nassau County, Long Island, Jennifer McLogan, Conduct 11-member panel will decide the judge's fate. Attorney Thomas Liotti lodged a formal misconduct complaint against the judges who are elected, not appointed, in the Valva case. The New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct's 11-member panel will decide the judge's fate.
They do not deserve to be judges of any kind.
They do not deserve to be judges of any kind. Guess what? I concur with him. I concur. These judges should be removed. Anybody that was on this case should not be deciding cases, and especially that judge that dismissed her. The one that dismissed her when she said that my children are in danger should not be on the bench.
And they should be removed immediately.
Once the judicial court records reveal exchanges between Mother Justina and a judge during bitter hearings involving custody of all 3 of her sons, Tommy, Andrew, and Anthony. Mother, my children are coming soaked in urine. Anthony is sleeping in the garage. His hands and feet are bright red, Your Honor. He's not getting any food. Judge, Ms. Valva, move along. I can't remember everything you are saying because you're saying so much. Mother: Your Honor, the CPS is not doing the job because they are closing the reports the next day. The judge denied the mother's motion to return the children to her. Mother: Why? On what basis? The children's life is in danger.
The children's life is in danger, Your Honor. And this is Zimmerman. This is that female judge that was on that sign. Said, because I said so. Here it comes.
Your Honor, Judge, because I said so. Attorney Thomas Liotti lodged a formal misconduct complaint against the judges who are elected, not appointed, in the Valva case. The New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct's 11-member panel will decide the judge's fate.
They do not deserve to be judges of any kind, and they should be removed immediately.
Once the Judicial Conduct Commission receives and reviews a complaint, a judge can be cleared, suspended, removed, censured, or even resigned. In Nassau County, Long Island, Jennifer.
None of them resigned, none of them were removed, and none of them were suspended. Nothing happened to any of them. And that's a fact. Nothing happened to any of those judges as of right now. Holy shoot. This really gets me worked up. All right, one more and then we're gonna wrap it up. Here's the New York Post article. I'll show this quickly. Thomas Valva's mom files $200 million suit over his death in the garage. The mother of Thomas Valva filed a $200 million federal lawsuit Tuesday, this was June 16th, claiming Long Island courts, school officials, and social service agencies failed to protect her son from his abusive ex-NYPD cop father before the youngster was killed in January. Justina Zupko Valva claims in court papers that her autistic 8-year-old son was subject to years of completely and preventable abuse at the hands of his cop father, Michael Valva, and his girlfriend, Angela Pollina I, both pieces of garbage. It doesn't say that in the article, I just added that. While officials continually looked the other way, her lawyer said in a release, Ms. Zupko Valva had provided evidence to the court, CPS, and the police and the Children's Family Court attorneys several times that showed severe physical, mental, and sexual abuse. Now, that's another component that Justina spoke to me about the last time I was at her house. She said to me that she has evidence that her son was sexually abused at the hands of his father. Now, that's an allegation that I heard in conversation. People were talking about it in a Facebook group, but I didn't want to mention it or go with it. But Justina said it to me in her own words, and I'm not going to go into the details, but she basically has evidence that her son who was murdered was sexually abused, and she has evidence of it, and they don't even want to hear about it. Rather than taking action to protect the children and stop their abuse by their father and his fiancée and report the multiple complaints of abuse that had been made as required under New York State social services law, the defendants hid the truth about the children's health and fabricated false, misleading, and dishonest reports about Miss Zupko Valva and her children. Michael Valva, 40 years old, a 15-year NYPD vet, is awaiting trial on murder charges in his son's January 17th death from extreme hypothermia. Prosecutors say the boy died after the ex-cop locked him in the garage in the Suffolk County home overnight amid freezing temperatures, 19 degrees. Valva was given custody of his 3 children, with Zupko Valva, despite her repeated complaints that the kids were being abused. And this is the arrest photos. They're wearing the suicide vests so they can't hang themselves. Both of them are still in protective custody on suicide watch. He's taken advantage of the system. I spoke to a Suffolk County sheriff who I used to make pickups there from the Suffolk County Jail. I spoke to him just recently, and he said that many inmates want to get a hold of both of them, but they're in PC, protective custody, and they're around the clock, 23 hours in lockup, 1 hour to shower or go out and have rec time, but it's all solo with guards to protect him. The children frequently arrived at school with urine-soaked clothes and wearing diapers, having bathroom accidents and not being able to control their bowel movements, despite having been potty trained years before. The claim says, despite all the red flags and warning signs, nothing was done, and the mistreatment of the children continued. This case is horrific and tragic. John Norsberg, Justina's lawyer, said in a statement, Michael Valva was protected because he was a police officer. If he had been a normal citizen, he would have been arrested and put in jail. But because he was a police officer, the defendants looked the other way and let him get away with this horrific abuse. He said little Tommy would have been still alive if these defendants had done their jobs. And he's referring to the court system and everybody that was named. These are defendants. This is calling for the people who were involved in this to be arrested, and rightfully so. They should be removed and arrested. It's really disgusting and despicable, to be honest with you. Disgusting and despicable. There's a special committee that's supposedly put together. This was in June, I believe. No, August 10th. Special committee meets to investigate Thomas Valva's death. This was part of what Suffolk County put together and said that they're going to try to get to the bottom of the failures here. And I don't believe that they're going to ever do anything about it. I think this is just smoke and mirrors. I'm not going to read this all to you because it's a lot. This. Oh yeah, I want you guys to hear this. This is good.
Lawmakers now taking special action. News 12's Eileen LaPalmer has the latest on the nation tonight into the death of an 8-year-old boy whose father remembers. Lawmakers now taking special action. News 12's Eileen LaPalmer has the latest on the death of Thomas Valva.
We need to do a full fact-finding.
Suffolk County legislators are now investigating the murder of 8-year-old Thomas Valva. As News 12 Long Island has reported, the child froze to death in January after prosecutors say his father, Michael Valva, and his fiancée forced him to sleep in an unheated garage.
How events transpired and quite frankly, how we missed the fact that there was such a rampant amount of abuse going on in this home.
Today, a brief meeting was held to form a special legislative committee to look into what went wrong in the Valva case. As we've reported, Valva's mother, Justina, says she repeatedly reported that her ex-husband was abusing her children. Even the school district says it did notify Child Protective Services.
I don't know if our caseworkers did think something was going on, but were never empowered to take action because they couldn't document it. They couldn't come up with the right evidence.
The legislative committee also hired an attorney who will subpoena all records connected to this case.
Any and all documents that are available to us from county agencies like CPS and Department of Social Services, the police department, from the courts, from the schools.
And even though today's meeting was closed to the public due to COVID-19 restrictions, Thomas Valva's mother did show up at the county legislature to try to speak to lawmakers.
I went out and spoke to her afterwards, and we are open to, certainly we want to hear her clearly.
All right, so somebody said in the chat, who was that? Christian's Adventures. Why do former cops get protection? Anybody that goes into the correction department that is a accused criminal that's awaiting trial, if their life is threatened by inmates or if they try to take their own lives, they get into protective custody. Anybody that's high profile, meaning a police officer that's arrested, a fireman, a doctor, a lawyer, a politician, a regular person who is committed a heinous crime such as death of a child, or they all get afforded protective custody. It's not just about the cops that get accused and brought into jail. It's anybody that's a threat. It's the job of the corrections officers to ensure that the inmates do not kill another inmate. Of course, they failed in the Jeffrey Epstein case. I knew somebody was going to say that. There's Jana chiming in right away. I kind of was thinking along those lines, and I knew that somebody would come up with that. But that's the situation there. It's not that, oh, he's a cop, let's protect him. We got to protect the guy. It's just that's their job. That's what they do, and they do it for anybody. If you or I were to go into jail and then the inmate said we're going to kill this guy, or if there was a threat made against us, we would be given PC, protective custody. That's how it goes. But now, do we feel comfortable with CPS turning over all their paperwork and showing all their flaws? No. Do we think that all of these branches of government are going to just give up all of their documents when they completely failed? Who's to say that they don't start shredding documents? Like court stuff has got a stenographer and it's all court documents. I don't see that happening in the courts. I don't see somebody taking the minutes from all of the court dates and disposing of them. I don't think that would be possible, because it's all public record, and Justina and everybody has copies of it. So Justina has she has case files in her house. I didn't go in there and see them myself, but I saw from a news report. She has folders and files filled with case files in her house. So, but I don't trust anybody now in
failings, this whole afterwards.
This is a Suffolk County legislator.
We are open to, certainly we want to hear her. Clearly, one of the failings this whole time was, I think, that people did not take her seriously and were not listening to her.
Eileen LaPalmer, News 12, Long Island.
The Legislative Committee says it could be 6 months or more before they release their findings. The criminal case is still continuing against Michael Valva, a former NYPD officer, and his fiancée.
How gross is that? I mean, so it could take over 6 months or more for them to come up with their findings. What do you need? We're in a COVID lockdown. What do you need 6 months for? Tell me, why do you need 6 months to go over records that are very clear and concise failures? What takes 6 months? To look at paperwork? To look at the calls that came in to CPS, the emergency 17 calls, the 33 calls, the documentation? Last time I checked, 5 days of 8-hour days, 5 consecutive days of 8 hours a day of a team of people combing through these papers, you should be able to come up with an answer. This woman, this mother, Justina Valva, deserves an answer in a timely fashion. She was turned away from the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office and denied a copy of the autopsy of her own flesh and blood that was killed at the hands of the people who she begged that the court take her kids away from. Don't forget her 3 sons, Anthony, Thomas, and Andrew. Her 3 sons were in danger. It wasn't just Thomas that she was pleading for. She was pleading for all 3 of her sons. It just so happens that one of them got killed. She could have been out all of her kids, God forbid. All right, Kenny TV, thank you for coming. Good night. 6 months is way too long. It's bullcrap. It's just another spoon-fed political garbage that they're giving her. They're giving her a song and dance. Millie Molly, Mrs. T, thank you so much. I think that's the first time I got that right. Thank you for the super love. Thank you for that. So it's just sickening on so many different levels. I could sit here for 2 hours and go over this with you, because I have like 6 more videos that I haven't showed you. But You guys get, this will be the last one I'm going to show you. This will be the last one.
And his fiancée have been indicted by a grand jury. News 4's Greg Circle has been following this. A house of horrors. That is how prosecutors describe the home where 8-year-old Thomas Valva died last month. Police say he died in a cold garage. The boy's father, who is an NYPD officer, and his fiancée have been indicted by a grand jury. News 4's Greg Circle has been following this story for weeks. Greg?
Well, David, that grand jury indictment levels a top charge of second-degree murder against Michael Valva and Angela Pollina. Today, here in court in Riverhead, an angry prosecutor read a gut-wrenching list of the kinds of abuse she says were endured by 8-year-old Thomas and his older brother Anthony. And then the prosecutor said after...
Hold on. Vincina. They're not working from home. They were working from home in March, April, and May. But June, July, August, September, October, they're back at the jobs. They're all back at their jobs. So that argument would come into play for March, April, May, and part of June. But they're all back at it. So I don't buy it. Mercedes, there you go. Very cold, very disgusting.
Thomas was pronounced dead, his father was quoted as saying, "I've been through more stressful things than this." Her voice dripping with contempt, a Suffolk prosecutor described NYPD cop Michael Valva and his fiancée Angela Pollina as cruel, callous, and evil, saying abuse in their, quote, house of horrors ended with 8-year-old Thomas Valva freezing to death in his garage last month.
He's a hero. He was opposing the abuse. But how much could he handle? He was only 8 years old.
Thomas's mom wept openly in court, all while clutching her son's funeral card. Prosecutors' abuse allegations echoed what Justina Zubko-Valva had been saying throughout the custody fight for her 3 sons, warning she claims the child protection system ignored.
Now everybody's trying to do the right thing, but where were you when I begged you for help?
Among other things, she claims the child protection system ignored.
Now everybody's trying to do the right thing, but where were you when I begged you for help?
Now everybody's trying to do the right thing, but where were you when I begged you for help? The words that Justina has put out in her news conferences have been so profound, so powerful, so moving, that I just can't understand how anybody in law enforcement or in government or in anybody that's in power can stand by and let this go on. Why isn't anybody coming forward within the governments of Nassau and Suffolk and saying, hey, there's something wrong here and there's something needs to be done? They slipped out the back door. They did the Irish exit on Justina and on all of us. They've done the Irish exit. There was no hugging and kissing. They were out the door. And we need to scream at the top of our lungs about this. We need to scream about this. Joey, I got no answers for that question. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on here. But I don't like it one bit. And neither does Justina, neither does anybody that's getting behind her. Let's all get behind her and write to these politicians. Write, and I'll go out and stand out there and protest over this, because this is disgraceful. VP, of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to do that. They're going to protect their client. That's what they do. But the evidence is going to show, and I pray that Suffolk County Homicide gave the proper evidence over to the district attorney to make a successful prosecution. Under New York state law, murder second degree is the highest that the Suffolk DA could charge. I think that in our hearts, we all want first degree murder, but a conviction of second degree murder would ensure that the two of them would never see the light of day. for the rest of their natural born lives. And that's, for me, that's justice. That if they stay in jail for the rest of their lives, I don't care what, if it's first or second degree murder, as long as the conviction and the sentence keeps those scums behind bars for the rest of their lives, that will do the trick for justice. So getting caught up with the fight of, well, it should be first degree and it shouldn't be second degree, that doesn't do any good. I want to know that if convicted of a second degree murder case, that these people who are in their 40s get to be locked up for the rest of their lives and never get to see the light of day. So I've marched in the Justice March. I live streamed it. Go and look at my Thomas Valva playlist. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button, all one word, DutyRon. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all one word, DutyRon. Go over to my Facebook group and sign up for the YouTube video share group and my police and crime chat group. Go over to DutyRon.com where you will see all of the links to all of my stuff. Go and check out the playlist for Justina and baby Thomas. I'll link it down below. The playlist will be available down in the description below this video. And again, thank you so much for everyone being here. Keep the message alive. Stand as Justina Valva. Let me show you her.
Among other things,
hold on,
prosecutors say
end
Thomas
this,
and his older brother,
let me show
both
you
with
her
autism,
Twitter,
were beaten.
so you
They
guys
were also
can
forced
go
to
over
sleep in a freezing
and
garage.
subscribe to her Twitter account. Let me get that over to you real quick. I forgot I was going to do that. All right, so here's Stand Against Child Abuse. This is oops. I'll make it big screen. So this is Justina's this is her page. Oh, she posted an hour ago. 1 month, number one, the month of October is dedicated as the month of Holy Rosary. The power of Rosary prayer has unimaginable value, and this is Thomas's mother, and always provides a special protection for our family during extremely difficult times we have faced. Exactly 9 months ago, my little angel, she posted this just an hour ago, Tommy suffered that was one. So it's a broken up, let me expand it. Okay, yeah, here it is. So I had to expand it. So he suffered a martyr's death, but God saved Tommy's two brothers, just what we were just talking about. God saved Tommy's two other brothers from also being killed by their abuser and brought them back under my loving care. Many of you have been asking me, how do I find the strength to survive the pain and suffering surrounding this tragic situation? And I can assure you that nothing heals my heart more than prayer and love for God and Holy Mary. They are never failing remedies in difficult times of our lives. Tommy's spirit presents in our lives is evident. Tommy's spiritual presence, I said that wrong. Tommy's spiritual presence in our lives is evident, and our family is certain that Tommy intercedes for us to God and Holy Mary and obtains many blessings for us. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for your constant prayers and support. May God bless you and your families. What a wonderful tweet that she put out. And here's her Twitter handle, @JUSZub. Here it is right here. I'll highlight it for you. I don't know if you guys could see that good. I'll make it bigger so you guys can screenshot that if you want. So go over and follow Justina's account. And she has 5,600 followers. Wow. Why aren't I following her? Okay, I'm following her now. I thought I was. I've sent her many messages. She doesn't answer any direct messages, so don't put any messages in her direct mailbox because she's getting too many of them, and I don't blame her for not answering them. You know, it's probably thousands of people are sending her messages. This was last month, September 17th. Today marks the 8th month anniversary since my son's Tommy's tragic death. Just 3 days ago, September 14th, we remembered Tommy's 9th birthday. So his birthday was in September 14th. That sadly, he never ever had a chance to celebrate with his family and loved ones. My heart is filled with tremendous gratitude. And this is a beautiful photo of Tommy right there. God. Just awful. So this is her Twitter. Go on over there to her Twitter account and show her some love in the comment section. So, show her some love in the comment section. So again, I want to wish you guys an abundance of love and respect, and God bless the world. God bless the United States of America. God bless each and every one of you here in the chat, and God bless baby Thomas Valva and Justina and Andrew and Anthony, his brothers. Support this woman, support her family. You know, she doesn't have a GoFundMe, but any way that you can support this woman, whether it's positive comments, giving yourself, if you're in Long Island or in the New York metro area, and coming out and showing some support for her. Positive Facebook posts, try to keep it positive and not negative. She lives one town over from me. I drive past her house almost every day when I go to work. So I'll continue to stop in and check on her and offer her my love and support. I'd love to have her come on my channel. Hi, Lauren. How are you? I'd love to have Justina come on. I'll put the invite out there to her over and over again. She can come on anytime here and speak and have the floor to speak to, you know, the people who support the DutyRon family. We got a great support group here. So I'll try to ask if she wants to come on and give her, give her conversation or thoughts out into the social media, to the social media land, and I'll continue to do that. So thank you to everyone for being in here. Much love and respect from my house to yours. And guys, don't forget, subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends, your family to subscribe and come. I'm close to 20,000 subscribers. I think I'm at like 19,800, something like that. So we're getting close to that 20,000 mark. So I'm looking forward to that. And thank you, Philly Girl. Thank you, Philly GURL, new subscriber. Thank you. Hey, I like to do this now that you just reminded me. Let me know if you're new and your first time watching. Let me know your city, state, where you are, so I could say hello, and then we'll end the live stream real quick. And again, prayers for Justina and Andrew and Anthony and the whole family, her mom. But if you are new, I'd like to know where you are and where you're from. Tracy, good to see you. Thank you, 19.8. Thank you for the confirmation. We're getting close. We're getting close. Thank you, Abby. Much love and respect to you. Thank you, Barking Dogs, for the confirmation. CPS is a failure, Debbie. There's no question. CPS is a failure. Times 10. Kendra, thank you. Inner Peas, good to see you. Dawn Marie, thank you for moderating and always being here. I appreciate that. Thank you to anyone who becomes a new channel member or supports through Patreon or becoming a channel member. That's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Atlanta. Hello, Lauren from Atlanta. San Antonio, VP. Good to see you. Thank you for coming. Yeah, he is free from the world, in heaven, playing and away from all the evil. Dookie 4000 sending hearts and prayers for blue hearts for Thomas. Thank you for that. Dookie 4000, unbelievable the support that her and I get from each other. She's my neighbor. She lives right across the street. So Dookie 4000, great woman, great friend, great neighbor, great everything. Tracy, hello, and Thank you. Cheers from Montreal and Quebec, Canada. Montreal. Happy Rogue. Good to see you. Thank you. All right, guys. I got to go. It's time for bed for me. I'm tired. So prayers to everybody, and thank you for joining. God bless, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace and love from New York City.